One of the questions I get asked the most is, how do you know when you're dating someone emotionally unavailable? Now, if you've never heard that term before, let me just back up and explain what that is. Emotional unavailability is a person who has difficulty with emotions. They either have difficulty feeling their emotions, expressing their emotions, maybe showing love, showing affection. They may also have difficulty with commitment. And generally, these are very painful relationships to be in. If you're with someone unavailable, you probably know that there's just something that doesn't feel good about this relationship. You don't feel fully loved, appreciated, cared for. And so we want to do our very best to try to avoid these types of relationships. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. How to know when you're with someone who's emotionally unavailable. I'm going to give you a bunch of specific things you can look for so you can avoid this type of relationship in the future. So in case you're new here, welcome. My name is Lindsay. I am the Real Love Alchemist, and I help you go from bad relationships to real love with the magic of subconscious work. So if you're curious what that looks like, click on the link in the description to learn more about working with me. All right, I've got my list here. Let's break it down. How do you know when someone is emotionally unavailable? So this first one is going to be like kind of an obvious one, but it's something that we often miss. This person already has a partner. So maybe they're already married, maybe they already have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. That's a clear sign that this person is not fully available to you. But I know that a lot of us can overlook that because maybe they're confessing their love for us, or maybe they're saying, oh, you know what, our relationship is it's on the decline. We're going to be separated. We're going to be getting a divorce. I want to be with you. And it can be really tempting to jump into a situation like that because it can feel very intense. Like, oh my gosh, this person is giving up this other person that they're with for me. But if they are already in a committed relationship, then they are not fully available to you. So if you see this, move on, do not pass go. This is a person who is unavailable. Another sign of unavailability is if they are constantly talking about an ex that hurt them. So maybe all they can talk about is this ex who hurt them, who betrayed them, who cheated on them, and it seems like they can't stop talking about it. They keep bringing this person up in conversation. You get the feeling like they're just not over it. And if you get that feeling, they are probably not over it. And so we would consider that person to be unavailable, meaning their emotional energy is still tied up in their ex. They are not fully available. I can't even say that word sometimes, fully available for you emotionally. And what they would actually have to do is take some time to heal and detach from that ex, to grieve that ex, so that they could be fully present for you, not have so much energy tied up in this ex. They seem detached or kind of cold or kind of distant. Like a lot of times they can also be considered mysterious. And I'm smiling because I remember when I was younger and I was emotionally unavailable, that's how I was often described, as mysterious. Like you really couldn't get to know me because I wasn't sharing much. I didn't feel comfortable to do that. I didn't feel safe to do that. So I kept a lot to myself. I seemed kind of cold or kind of distant. So that's a big clue that you're with somebody who is unavailable. They are actually literally withholding their emotions, withholding themselves from you. You can tell, you can feel that somebody is kind of closed off to you. They just aren't fully present. They're not fully open to you. It kind of feels like they have a wall up. That's another way of describing that. Another sign of emotional unavailability is they don't really seem that interested in meeting your needs or having empathy for you. So like if you bring up something that you're struggling with, you're having a hard time with, they're either just like, okay, like deal with it, that's your problem. Or they could even be critical of you about that. Like, why are you feeling that way? Toughen up. They don't have a lot of empathy for you, and they also don't really have much of an interest in meeting your needs, especially your emotional ones. So if you're like, hey, I just want to talk to you about this, they're like, I just can't do it, or they don't have anything to say, or maybe they just kind of sit there and they're listening, but they're really not offering much as far as emotional support. If you bring up a need, they could be dismissive about it or say like, I really can't do that. I'm sorry. And that's it. There's not much attempt to really meet your needs in any way. Again, especially the emotional ones, especially when you need some comforting, when you need some empathy, that's a sign this person is unavailable. And another sign that just popped into my head right now that they may be emotionally unavailable is like, let's say they're dating you and you have met on the apps and you've agreed, you know what, we're not going to keep our profiles up anymore, we're going to take them down. But maybe they still do. They still keep their profile up. That's a sign that this person might have some resistance to commitment, and that falls under the category of emotional unavailability. Another sign of unavailability is this person seems to be really difficult to get in touch with, and they can also go for days without talking to you. So a lot of times this gets written off as, well, this person is just very busy, right? They're just so busy, they can't get back to us. I can't get in touch with them. Yeah, they might be busy. They might be busy. But they also could be emotionally unavailable, and or both. A lot of times people who are unavailable, they keep themselves busy so they don't have to be present and available for the people in their lives because they're scared. There's a lot of reasons why that happens, and there's a lot of things we can do about that. But often this is a sign that someone is unavailable, meaning they're just not willing to be closer to you emotionally. They're not willing to show up more consistently because that would mean more intimacy, and that's not something that they're interested in. So another sign that someone is emotionally unavailable is they have difficulty with expressing their feelings, and they have a really hard time during conflict. Like they might just shut down. I'm not talking about in a situation where there's abuse happening, but let's just say the two of you have a conflict, there's something you need to talk about. They really can't tell you how they feel. And it feels like they're just shut down, like they're just not giving you anything. They're not sharing very much. That's a sign that someone has a lot of difficulty with either expressing their feelings or accessing their feelings or even just knowing what they're feeling. And that would be unavailability. If someone you're dating is very evasive about talking about the relationship or talking about the future, making future plans, that's a sign that they might be emotionally unavailable. Now again, this can fall under the category of a fear of commitment, but still this would be considered unavailable because it's a difficulty with intimacy. It's a difficulty with getting closer to someone, having a real relationship, planning a future together. So yeah, if someone's really dodgy about that kind of stuff, they might be emotionally unavailable. If you're with someone who is often expressing that they need a lot of space or they need a lot of distance or they need a lot of time to themselves, that's a sign of unavailability. And a lot of people would say that this would fall under the avoidant attachment category. And yeah, like if you're watching this video and you're like, this sounds like someone who's avoidant, yeah, very often those two go hand in hand. It's just really two different ways of describing a similar pattern of behavior. So if this person needs a lot of distance, like maybe there's a conflict and they can't talk to you for days, maybe they're even gone for like a week, that's a lot of time to be apart if you're in a relationship. And that's, in my opinion, too much. And I would consider that to be someone who's emotionally unavailable. And maybe they say things to you like, you're so needy. I feel like you need so much from me. Now, it could be that you're asking for a lot, but very often you're not asking for a lot. You're asking for some of your basic relationship needs to be met, and this person just feels completely overwhelmed by them. And so they say things like you're being needy, when actually you're asking for things like love, kindness, and affection that all of us need in relationships. So if that's something you're experiencing, then this person's probably emotionally unavailable. Here's something that's kind of controversial, but I totally stand by it here. So if this person has a lot of exes that hang around them and they say that, oh, these people are just friends, like we used to date, but now we're just friends, I would consider that to be emotionally unavailable. Now, I'm not talking about just like one ex that maybe they have to co-parent with, or this is an ex from like years and years ago and there's no romantic feelings at all. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a number of different exes where they seem to still have some romantic feelings going on, either on their part or on the other person's part. If there's a lot of that, then that's a sign that someone is not fully emotionally available for you. Because from the perspective of an energy healer, when you have a lot of connections like that, there's emotional and energetic ties with a number of different people. And there's only so much energy that we have that we can give to the people in our lives. And so if this person is spread very thin energetically, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel like this person doesn't have enough energy or really just like psychic space for you. You can feel like it's being taken by all of these other people, all of these other exes that are kind of just orbiting around them. So if you see that, I consider that unavailable. And one of the biggest signs here that someone might be emotionally unavailable is if you feel kept out of or excluded from different parts of this person's life. So like maybe you've been dating this person for a couple months and you have no idea who this person's friends are. Maybe you've been dating someone for 6 months and you've never met their family, you've never met any of their friends. They just keep you feeling kind of separate. And maybe when you're together, they're very present, they seem to be emotionally available, but you're also really not a part of certain aspects of this person's life. That's also a sign of unavailability, because that's a person who's trying to keep you ultimately at a distance. They're not letting you fully into all different aspects of their life, which is what a healthy relationship is. You are fully integrated into this person's life. You're a part of them. You feel like you're a team. You know everything about this person. So if someone's keeping you at a distance, or there's certain aspects of their life that they are just not letting you in on, that's a sign of unavailability. So if you can relate to these things and you want to learn more about what it feels like to be with someone who's emotionally unavailable so you can spot it right away, check out this video here.